Running is supposed to be challenging, but chronically sore, stiff, tight calves shouldn't be part of the challenge. Today, we'll explain why your calves are sore and how to fix it. First things first, let's make sure we're actually dealing with sore calves. By sore calves, we mean calves that are tight, stiff, and generally achy after or during running. If you have pain in your foot, your Achilles, your shins, or your knees, this isn't the video for you. Also, if the pain in your calf has persisted for more than a few days, is painful to the touch, particularly in one specific area, or is causing you to change the way you walk or run, as in it's making you limp, then you probably aren't just dealing with calf soreness. You're probably dealing with an injury and you should see someone to get it diagnosed. Okay, now that that's out the way, let's start to address your sore calves. We'll start by trying to figure out the cause. Did you change your running shoes recently? Different running shoes have different drops, and by drop we mean the difference in height from the heel to the forefoot. Some have as much as 12mm drop, or 8mm, or 6mm, or even 0 drop shoes, that is, no drop from the heel to the forefoot. If you recently changed and your new shoes have less drop than your old shoes, that could be part of the problem that is straining your calf. And it's not just new running shoes that can do this. If you've been walking a lot in 0 drop shoes or barefoot shoes or shoes that don't support your calves very much, that can really wear out your calves, and you can feel that only when you're running. And it's not just drop that you need to consider when switching to a new pair of shoes. There's also the amount of cushioning that the new shoes have, or even the shape of the rocker plate that the shoes have, which could all strain your calf. So if you change your shoes recently, change them back and bring in the new pair of shoes gradually. Did you make a change to your training practices recently? Did you add more mileage or start running hillier routes, or change the surface that you run on to a harder or a softer or even just an off-road surface? You may be straining your calves more than they can handle. Take time to introduce new stimulus gradually so that your calves have time to adapt. And remember, even downhills will strain your calves more as they do some of the eccentric loading to cushion some of that impact. Did you change your stride recently? If you were sick of people telling you that you heel strike and started running more on your forefoot or your toes, your calves won't thank you. If you are going to make any changes, do this very, very gradually. Essentially, running on your toes means that your calves are contracted the entire time, and they will definitely be sore and stiff the next day. If you're trying to change from a heel strike because someone has told you you must, well, I'm here to tell you there's nothing wrong with a heel strike. The only thing you mustn't be doing is overstriding. But if you're heel striking but not overstriding, just keep the heel strike. In fact, any change in running posture is going to lead to tightness and stiffness somewhere. And more often than not, it's your calves. Did you recently change something else in your lifestyle? If you recently started a new job where you stand more, or you walk more on your commute to work, or you just changed the shoes that you wear day to day, your calves may be taking time to adapt to that. And you only notice that the extra strain that they're under when you're actually running. Reduce your running mileage for a little while you adapt to this new stressor. If it's none of these things that we've mentioned, it could be possible that it's a biomechanical issue that's causing your sore calves. If they've always just been sore and you haven't changed anything recently, then maybe you need to work on your strength or your flexibility to solve your problem. Before you embark on that, you need to let your calves recover. You can't start a new training program on sore, damaged calves, so give them a break. Avoid wearing barefoot shoes or walking around barefoot for a few days. Put some compression socks on to improve the blood flow to your calves. Self-massage your calves, or even use a foam roller, as long as you don't use too much weight on that foam roller. Make sure you are hydrating well, and if you do run, make sure you avoid hills and wear some forgiving shoes for those easy runs. Once your calves are back to normal, you can start sorting them out so they can handle the things you want them to. It's important to remember that while your calves play a big role in your running, they're actually quite small muscles. So be careful not to overload them whilst you lengthen and strengthen them for your running. Try one or more of the following. Stretch and loosen your hips, your lower back, your quads, and even your feet. While your calves may be the shortest and tightest part of that movement chain, the problem may be somewhere else in the chain. And in this case, stretching your calves may not solve the problem. In fact, it may even make it worse. Run barefoot or in barefoot shoes. We know this is exactly what we said might be causing your problems, and it might be. But small doses is medicine, large doses is poison. Find a grass field or somewhere forgiving, take off your shoes and run a few laps barefoot, and then you can add a few strides and you can build up to slightly longer runs. Remember to start short and easy and build up very gradually as you strengthen those lower leg muscles and your calves. Run hills. Again, we said this might be the cause, but controlled inclusion of hills can be great for your calves. Start with a few short strides up the hills and then gradually add more hills reps or longer hill reps as you adapt. And if you do encounter really long hills on your training runs, don't be afraid to walk up them. This might feel like failure, but it can actually prevent a long recovery process after that run when you've strained your calves. Do some drills and plyometrics. Knee raises, heel kicks, and skipping will not only strengthen your calves, it also improve your balance and coordination. Win-win. Do strength work. This should include your entire body, not just your calves, but focus on skipping and calf raises for your calves if they are an issue. Very important for this, especially on those calves, you must start light and controlled. Do eccentric calf loading. Start with calf drops and start with your body weight and progress to weighted calf drops. This not only strengthens, but also lengthens your calves. And with all strength training, make sure you do a thorough warm-up and make sure you don't do it on tired calves. One more thing before we go. Your calves are one of the muscles most prone to cramping. The reasons for this are various and not very well understood, but generally it's some combination of overuse or electrolyte imbalances. And most likely some of the solutions we've already mentioned in this video will be the solution to your cramping calves. But it is worth remembering that cramping in your calves is a traumatic event for your muscles. So if you have cramped recently in your calves, give them some time to recover before you strain them again or do any of the interventions that we've mentioned in this video. Thanks for watching. We hope you've solved your calf problems. If you have, let us know in the comments down below, or if you have a different solution, let us know what worked for you, and happy running.